Hey guys, it's Penguin here, and welcome back to another gold making video. And surprise, we have a third video this week. As you guys know, it is not Tuesday and it is not Thursday, so this is a little bit of a bonus video for you guys. The reason is that we just got huge news today. Currently, it is Thursday night, and just earlier today, we have news that there is going to be a 9.2.7, which is coming with a half region-wide auction house. What I mean by that is Blizzard is implementing region-wide auction house, but only for a certain amount of items. According to their list, which we only have a very small list, they call these items commodities, which is, as they list, gems, herbs, flasks, consumables, etc. And then they say items that aren't commodities, like armor and weapons, will continue to be realm-specific. So, that is kind of vague, right? Like, I assume pets are non-commodities, stuff like that, but where does, glyphs fall under? Assuming food, consumables, all of that is probably commodities. We just don't fully know. But I've talked to some people on stream, and we've basically decided that commodities are probably kind of, items that stack, while the non-commodities are those unique items that, don't stack, like armors, weapons, etc. But this is what this video is about, and I just kind of wanted to give you my first impressions. Now, before I get started, I do want to address some things. We are probably all not going to agree. There's going to be a large amount of people that probably think this is a very good change, and there's going to be a large amount of people that think this is a very bad change. It is completely fine to think either way. But please be respectful of each other's opinions, and feel free to leave your opinion down below so we can discuss it. Also, keep in mind, this is literally my first impressions. This news came out just a little bit ago, and I am known to change opinions, so, if you ask me in 2 days' time, I might have changed some thoughts, but this is currently what I'm thinking about. And so getting started, we have some pretty obvious pros. Now, I guess I should get it out of the way. Personally, I do not like this change. Of course, I'm biased as a gold maker, but I personally do not like this change, and I'll explain that in the cons. But the first obvious reasons of pros is that this is really great for buyers, especially buyers on low population servers. As you guys know, the lower pop you get, generally you get higher priced items, and not many of them on the auction house with less competition. So that means if you are a buyer, you're a raider, somebody who does current content on a lower pop server, generally you are paying more for those items, which is a pretty big inconvenience for you. So, as these commodities become region-wide, we will start to stabilize. For example, all of these materials will likely become very cheap compared to what they are now on your lower pop server, and buyers will be a lot happier to see those cheaper prices. For example, Wildhammer currently looks like this, and after the change, the auction house might look like this. So there might be a little bit of a change, which means, your consumables, your potions, your flasks, your cooking items, your gems, your enchants are all likely going to be cheaper, which is great for the buyer. Secondly, and this is more of a gold maker pro, is that there will be less market manipulation in these bigger items. For example, lightless silk, if you currently are on a lower pop server, or even on a fuller pop server, there's probably a few thousand, right? On my server, generally there's about 10,000 lightless silk, and then on some servers there might be upwards to 50,000. Once this becomes region-wide, for example, on the region-wide auction house for lightless silk, the current quantity would be 1.5 million cloth, which makes it very hard to actually reset that market by yourself. You would need a ton of gold to buy up a ton of that market, so unless you are a very big goblin, you will probably not be doing this, and if you attempt it, it is very likely that the items will crash back down, as you're now competing with everybody region-wide. Which just means more stable prices, and of course people don't have to worry about very necessary materials getting reset to a very high price. And so those are kind of the two big pros that I thought of. And of course, there are more. Feel free to leave the comments down below. but here are the cons. And this is one of the biggest reasons that I dislike this change, in that I believe it takes away choice from the player. What I mean is that when we talk about gold making, we do talk about population. And what we say is that these fuller pop servers normally have more competition, but also more sales and more buyers, while these medium and low pop have less competition and less sales, less buyers, which means that people purposely sometimes pick these low and medium pops in order to get into that different style of gold making. A lot of people do not like cancel scanning, and that is when they go into those lower pop servers to get away from all of that competition. And sadly, with this change, you will no longer have that choice. Besides armor and weapons, which is only a small part of gold making, you will have to compete with everybody region-wide no matter what. So your potions, your food, your enchants, your gems, if you gather materials, you will all have to face not only some insane competition from high pop realms, you are competing now against everybody, which is even more competition than people are used to. And this kind of has another side effect as well. People will probably say about that first opinion that, these low pop people can still sell weapons, armor, all of those type of items. But, the material prices will fall, and all it takes is one person to undercut on one of these low pop realms, and now the price may never recover. For example, currently on my server, the silken protofiber has a market value of about 72 gold. Because this is my current market value, any items that use this, so we have the tailoring items that use this for the crafter's marks, we also have the, rank 7 legendaries, this kind of keeps that price a little bit higher than these full pop servers because we're spending more with materials. However, when this change happens, this 72 gold will likely fall to the region average, which is about 30 gold, which now means that there is really no reason to keep those crafted item prices so high. I'm not saying it's immediately going to crash, but all it takes is one person to undercut, to barely any profit, and there's really no reason for it to go back up as the material price has fallen as well. So now you're just on a server that has the exact same margin as a high pop, but you just have less sales as you are still on a low or medium pop server compared to a full one. So now you're just really at a disadvantage at being at a low pop server. Thirdly, we now have a con, which can be seen as a con but also a pro. We did talk about it already, and this is no more big server or guild transfers or any sort of market manipulation. Now, this is a lot more of a controversial, type of gold making. There are plenty of people who do not enjoy and do not believe this should be a form of gold making, as, server transferring can shift the markets pretty badly, but there are plenty of people out there who make millions strictly by just doing this method. They don't do a ton of crafting, they don't do gathering, they simply just transfer and, flip across realms. So, this form of gold making will basically no longer be viable unless you just do it with armor and weapons and non-commodities, but generally the people who are doing this method are doing it with materials. So really, it just kind of stinks for them. Of course, this isn't going to affect everybody, but it is a con for those people. And the last main con I want to talk about are bots. Now, as we know, Blizzard does not do a good job at handling bots already, and it's going to be insane with a region-wide market, especially when bots are normally people who are selling raw materials, as they can bot their way through gathering and post it all really, really cheap. I know there's plenty of people who already come into the Discord, or they mention, hey, there's this bot on my auction house, they're cancel scanning 24/7, I don't know what to do, and just imagine that, but on a region-wide scale. Now, of course, there's going to be normal people cancel scanning like crazy as well, but if you got annoyed at bots, if you got annoyed at gathering bots, any sort of bot that was crashing prices, you are now dealing with it. We are all dealing with it on a regional basis. So what this means is that Blizzard really, really needs to focus down on bots, or this is just going to get incredibly annoying. Right now, bots take weeks to get banned. as they are waiting for the next ban wave, and you can report them, and then eventually you'll get like a thank you for reporting whatever, doing your job, but it takes a while to actually get this bot banned. So really, Blizzard just needs to focus on banning these bots as quick as possible or crack down on them, because it will be crazy trying to deal with so many bots regionally. But yeah guys, that is kind of my quick first impressions. As you guys can tell, I am not a fan of this, but who knows? Maybe after we see it on PTR, people test it out. You know, we don't even know what the new professions look like in Dragonflight. This might be a huge win, and we don't even know it. This is just currently my first impressions, so feel free to let me know if you agree or disagree, and why. But thank you guys so much for listening to this video. Sorry about this rant, but this is some pretty big news. And as always, everybody, have a good day.